Good morning, everyone. So I wanted to tell you guys an update and some information about our upcoming winter semester at Anchor Bible College. So I wanted to let you guys know first off, so that you and anyone you know can be up to speed, that registration is open for this upcoming semester. And so you can see a semester schedule there with things starting the beginning of January, and of course our favorite for rendezvous break, and then the semester ending at the end of April. So if this is something that you've been planning on, or you're interested in, or know someone that would be interested, I wanted to let you guys know about all of this, specifically now, so that people can be thinking about registering. And of course, you can see there a perfect representation of what someone might sign up for all the classes and get all their books ready to go. So I wanted to give that update and let you guys know about some of the classes that are planned. So the courses this winter, one that will happen on Monday afternoons, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., will be a New Testament 1 survey class that's going through the Gospels and Acts. And you can see there the professors Paul Manwiller and Rick Dietering. And most of you guys all know Paul Manwiller. And anyone who's been at our Bible college classes knows our friend Rick Dietering. He is probably the most excited and outgoing and putting everything into getting to teach. If you're interested in knowing if he would be a good one to teach a class for you to be a part of, you could talk to anyone who's taken a Bible college class in the past couple semesters, and they would probably be able to give you a really good idea that he's a really exciting guy to get to have a class with. And I can tell you guys that God has provided amazingly with instructors who we've known in some connection to our church, or even a couple directly from our church, to be teaching these classes. And so I've been really thankful for what God has provided through all of that. Another class that will happen is Christian Theology 2. There's a good group of students in Christian Theology 1 this fall, and there will be a follow-up to that class, although I do want to clarify that it is not something that is a requirement to take one before you take the other. This is a survey of a study of systematic theology. And so someone could study certain topics about the nature of God, and then other topics the next semester, and they don't necessarily build on each other. And so if this is something you're interested in studying theology, you could definitely sign up for this class if you've already been in the first class, or if you're interested in signing up for this. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that class in just a minute, but I'm giving an overview of all the different classes. The next class is an Old Testament 2 Poetry and Prophecy. And I can tell you guys that this class is going to be one that is probably one of the most interesting. It's a part of the Bible that has so much rich detail and information, but is probably spent the least time focused on, is these books of poetry and prophecy. That would be the books of Job through Malachi. And so I would really encourage any of you guys who want to really dig into studying the Bible in a way maybe you haven't before, and hopefully many of you have certainly read through this, but studying it in a class like this could be really powerful. So I encourage you guys to think about that. Another class that will happen that is not one that most of you would jump into if you haven't already been in Greek 1 is Greek 2. So there's a few here who would be really excited about signing up for this. The rest of you can probably tune out for the next 30 seconds. But that's been a really great class that's happened this fall. Professor Matt Postiff is a pastor in this area who's done a phenomenal job with those students. And you'd be very welcome to think about taking Greek again if we offer it. Or if someone already knows some Greek, they could certainly talk to me about sneaking into part 2. The final class that we have 5 classes this winter, is a psychology class. It's called Intro to Human Relationships and Biblical Counseling. And that is taught by our Karen Riddle, who has a background with both education and teaching these things and this kind of Christian counseling, and she's going to do a phenomenal job with this class. And I've talked to quite a few people who are excited about this. And as you can see on these slides, each one of these has the details for when these will happen. This will happen on Thursday evenings. And so I'll talk more about this class at another time, or you're very welcome to look on our website about more information, or talk to me or even Mrs. Riddle about this class. So an important question is, what are all of these classes building toward? And I've mentioned this before, but I wanted to remind you guys that one thing that quite a few people in our church and known to our church and other people are excited about is taking quite a number of these classes and building towards what would be a one-year biblical studies certificate. And really what this is it's useful to someone who might want to be serving in some kind of Christian ministry. It could be missions work. It could be some kind of ministry with a certain organization. Or it could just be a knowledge that you've completed something that is a well-rounded structure for launching your ability to step into ministry. And so we've outlined 10 classes that build towards that is a kind of standard educational structure for a one-year certificate. So that's something that you guys could be thinking and knowing that this builds towards, but something else that we haven't talked much about, but we're also outlining a 2-year biblical studies associate's degree program. And this is something we're authorized by the state of Michigan to offer official degree programs and have outlined the courses that will work towards that. And I'm not going to walk through all of this. You're welcome to talk to me at length about this at some time. Or you're, again, welcome to look at our website and study all of this. But I wanted to tell you guys that that's something that these classes are building towards for some number of students who are excited about working towards something in a really rigorous academic setting, as well as for their own personal edification and learning and growing closer to God. So I had promised that I would say one more thing about the theology course, and I've wanted to get to spotlight some of these courses so you have a better idea of what is involved with taking one of these courses. So I wanted to outline just some of the key teaching aspects that you might learn if you took this course. So the first would be the doctrine of man in the image of God. This has to do with things with covenant theology and God's creation of mankind. And there's certainly a lot of theological and even modern social implications of this kind of study and how you could know what Scripture says and be able to defend that. Things with the doctrine and application of redemption. This is a very deep and even fundamental concept for any Christian to understand about their grace and calling and the redemptive work of Christ. There's so much to cover there. Another thing, the doctrine of the church. There's certainly things about the structure and purpose of a church, things about what a church does with certain sacraments of baptism, the Lord's Supper, of course, worship. There's a lot to study about what the Bible has to say. And finally, the doctrine of the future. And I think some of you know what that means, and it sometimes scares some people to think about all of the complexities of that, but it's very important to study what does the Bible have to say about that. So that's some spotlight of this course, and I would encourage you guys to think about that. You can look at the Anchor Bible College website and see course descriptions for each of these. And of course, you can definitely talk to me if you're interested. So the final thing I wanted to let you guys know is if you're interested, how can you apply? And of course, the way would be to go to anchorbiblecollege.org, and you can see my browser already fills that in, so that works out. And you would drop down from the admissions tab to the apply now, and then you can also look for other places on the website where you can click on something that will take you to a form where you can submit your interest. So that's my update for you guys. I really appreciate getting to tell you guys what God is doing through this. It's really what He has done in providing so many people from our church to be helping. I can tell you guys one fun story is that if you noticed on Thursday evenings, there will be 2 classes happening at the same time, the Greek and psychology. So most of you guys are familiar that we have one classroom that is being used for a Bible college classroom, but we're going to be having 2 classrooms, and you can all look at the classroom right back there where Mr. McGuire's class meets. Will be outfitted for that, and Steve and Arlene Booker have done an amazing job with helping to paint the walls and redo all of the furniture and make it all beautiful for that. And it's just so cool to see our church being able to support what God is doing through this. And so I'm excited to tell you guys about that, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know.